Right. Okay. Hmm. Okay, good. Seems all of you can see. So we'll start with the session with a bit of recap. So yesterday we started with what is known as relational operators. Okay, so we saw yesterday in relational operators. These are the operators. Okay, we have already seen what are operators and operands. Okay, operators and operands together make up the mathematical expressions. And operators are the operations that you perform on operands, and operands are like 2 3 digits numbers, okay, variables containing values, okay, all those things are operands, and the symbol, mathematical symbols separating them are operators, okay, and together they form expressions. So we have already seen arithmetic operators, just like plus, minus, asterisk, forward slash for division, and modulus operator for obtaining the remainder. Similarly, now we have another set of operators, collectively known as relational operators, which compare between operands and determine the relationship between them. Okay, so there are six types of relational operators. So there are six types of relational operators, and first one is double equal to or compare. Okay, one more thing. Relational operators are also known as comparison operators because they compare and establish relationship between between operators. So you can also tell them comparison operators. Okay, so out of the six, the first one is double equal to, that is equal to followed by another equal to, that is used for comparison. And what is the difference between single equal to and double equal to? Single equal to is an assignment operator that is used to assign values to a variable. Okay, whereas double equal to is used for checking the equality condition, whether the two values are equal or not. Then we have exclamation mark equal to, which stands for not equal to. Okay, exclamation mark followed by equal to. Then less than, greater than, less than equal to, and greater than equal to. So such six types of operators are there. They are mainly used in control statements. We have seen in control statements there are three types of statements which may have further types, but majorly there are three types: conditional, iterative. Iterative will be loops, and then you have jump statements like break and continue. So we started our journey with respect to control structures with conditional statements, right? Let me see if I can zoom out a bit. No, that was the maximum. Anyways, so yes, so now one more thing: the output of relational operators is always true or false. We also saw one very small example of that. Just a minute. We also saw one very small example of the different types of operators, and we saw they are always returning answer either in true or false. True comes when it means the condition stands. Okay, the condition is actually met, and false is when the condition is, or when the comparison or when the relationship is not met. Okay, so it's a way of saying yes and no by computer. And true and false, we know that it comes under what data type? Boolean data type. Okay. Now, going forward with conditional statements in Java, so we have seen that so far our general approach was that we used to proceed in a sequential manner where there was one problem and there was one and only one possible solution or a definite solution for that. So there was no need of decision making. However, in most of the circumstances and practical problems, there is an element of chance, you can say. There is an element of possibility. There is an element of you can say multiple outcomes. There are chances of multiple outcomes. So for handling such cases, there should be a mechanism in the programming languages which can deal with the situations where, depending on some factors or some conditions, different types of outputs can be given. So this feature is there in all programming languages, in Java also, and this feature is implemented, or this mechanism in Java that is solving problem based on conditions is implemented by using a structure, control structure known as if statement, which of course conditional statements, which are further divided into, themselves divided into how many types? They are divided into 4 types. Okay, so we started discussion with if, then we had else, then we have else if. Okay, and switch. We discussed that switch we are only going to cover once we complete all the 3 types of decision making structures, that is conditional statements, that is if else and else if else, sorry. So I had given you the basic layout of how those 3 can be used, and I had also discussed what do we mean by block. Block is whatever statement is contained within the curly braces of if, whatever statements you write within that. Okay, and we also saw that relational operators are immensely used in control structures, and therefore the if being one of the control structures, relational operators are also used here as a part of condition checking. Okay, so just after if, the condition that you see, that will be containing relational operators giving rise to conditions, and based on the result of the condition, that is whether it is true or false, the block of if, or the block of if or else, or block of if else will be executed. So with this background, we also went ahead and saw that if there is only there are chances of multiple outcomes, but we have to only take care of, or we have to only handle one case, one of the possible outcomes, then we are going to use if structure of conditional statement. However, when there are multiple outcomes possible, but we have to handle only 2 or any 2, okay, outcomes from let's say a collection of possible outcomes, if we have to handle only 2 of those, okay, then in that case we use one structure known as if and else, if else block, right? And we had a brief discussion, I just introduced you to the third type, that is when there are multiple outcomes and you have to handle more than 2 outcomes. Here in this example, I have shown only 3, but it can be 3 or even more. It doesn't matter. As far as it is more than 2, you are going to, if you have to handle more than 2 of the possible outcomes, then you are going to use if else statement. Okay, and of course, switch will be taking care later. We have already seen block, whatever is within the curly braces gives rise to the block. Okay, now so far clear? Then we'll move ahead with the today's topic, but before that we'll just have a look into what programs we covered yesterday. So this was the program for what exactly? This was a program for your relational operators, right? And we also saw that if you are concatenating it, then the relational operators inside print must be contained within brackets. Okay, so in that case the relation operator must be contained within simple brackets, else it results in an error, so that the result can be computed first and then that result can be concatenated. Okay, so we saw as per whatever the condition was for these 2 numbers as 12 and 4, you got the different set of outputs in the form of true and false. Now we also saw example of single if, okay, where there was only one possible one outcome we were handling, okay, and that outcome was which is greater. I need to print if and only if x is greater than y. That is, if the first number that you are checking is greater than the second one, then only you have to display message, else you don't have to do anything. So we have to handle only one case of the many possible cases, rather two possible cases here. So therefore we are using only the if part, that is the if form of control statement, because we don't need to show when y is greater. Okay, we only need to show display the message when x is greater. I also told you to go through what will happen if this x is contained within quotes and y is contained within quotes. Any idea? If we uncomment the second thing, what will happen? Just not exactly related to if, I'm just asking in general. Yes, you can speak up and you can let me know. What if we enclose this x within quotes and this y also within quotes? Nothing related to if, it's basic input. The value of x and y will, the value of x and y is appearing in this case only. If I execute this program for you, (20) is greater than 18. You can see here. You can see here that x and y values are appearing here itself. What will happen in this case? If you add x and y within quotes, yes, it will show x is greater than y, correct? Okay, correct. Yes, Aranj. So instead of replacing the value of variable x, okay, instead of replacing the value of variable x, which it is doing in this case, okay, it will simply display x as the message and y as the message, and that you will get, instead of this output, you will get x is greater than y. Okay, so be very careful when you are using the variable name, that is the identifier, without quotes and within quotes. If you are writing it within quotes, then it will be treated as a message and it won't fetch the value from the variable. It will just be assumed to be a message. Okay. Hope this is clear to all what I conveyed. Let me know so that I can just move on with other programs. Okay. Jayesh, Adya, Ishan and others. Good. Now, we also discussed other program wherein we had to check which is greater among the two numbers we entered. So we have to print whether first number that we entered is greater or the second number that we entered is greater. So here, how many cases possible outcomes are there? Either one will be greater or two will be greater, and accordingly we have to display the message. So we have to handle two cases. So if two cases have to be handled, we are using if and else structure, control structure. Okay, so two cases, remember, if else. Only one case, if. More than two case, if else. Okay, so we accepted the first, just a minute. We accepted the first number, then we accepted the second number, and then we checked, is first number greater than second number? If that is true, we displayed the message num1 is greater, else we displayed num2 is greater, right? Then finally, okay, this this was till the point we covered yesterday, and then we were about to make our entry in the third type, that is if else statement, wherein outcomes that we have to handle are more than two. Therefore, we will be using this form of structure. Okay. But before we see those things, we'll see another very small program based on if else only. So let's say you have to write a program. You have to write a program which checks whether the person is eligible to drive or not. So what is the driving age? Driving age is 18 years. Okay. So what we will do is, and we will expect user is going to input an integer value. Okay, so we'll take one variable labeled as or identified by the name age. We will ask that age from the user, and we will put that value in the variable age, and then we will check whether that age is greater than or equal to 18. This is one of the relational operators, and this will result in true or false. And as we know, if the condition is true, which statement will be executed? The statements present in the if block. Okay. If the condition is false, the statements present within else block will be executed. But remember one thing: if and only if the condition, if and only if the condition is false, this one that you are checking, then only it will go into the else block. If the condition is true, it won't go even look into this else block. It will directly execute if block, and it will skip this else block and will go ahead with the program execution. Okay, so this is a sequential structure. If the first one is correct, then it will execute that. If first one is false, then it will come to second one and will execute that statement. Okay, so either this or this will be executed. So we are checking if the age entered by the user is greater than or equal to 18. If this is replaced by true, then it will go inside if block and it will print the message, hey, you are eligible for driving. And let's say if this is not the case, then this condition will become false, and therefore if block statement won't be executed, rather else block statement will be executed, and it will print on, hold on there, you are not yet supposed to drive. Okay, so because there were two conditions only, either the person will be eligible to drive or the person will not be eligible to drive, therefore we used if else structure with the condition, testing condition as whether age is greater than equal to 18. Is this program clear to all? Just let me know. Based on age comparison. Okay. Good. So see, different versions of okay, Aryansh, Inos, Hasmita and others. Good that you have understood. Now, this question can be asked in many different ways. At times they may ask you whether eligible to, instead of drive, they may somebody may ask you to write a program for whether eligible to vote or not. So you will see in that case what is the voting age. In India, of course, they are the same, but many different countries have different voting and driving ages. Okay, some countries may have 16 years, some have 21 years. So but we'll not go into that. The concept is whatever is the base age for that nation, we'll put up that age here in the condition. Okay, and then we will decide whether the person is eligible to vote or not. Okay, fine. Now we are going to see the example of the third type. Okay, that is if, else if and else statement. For that, we are going to assume one very simple program, or rather we are going to write one very simple program. So what is our program? Our program is, just a minute. Okay. So our program is let's say somebody asks you to write a program, okay, write a program to accept day number, that is which day number of the week, day number of the week, day number of the week, and then print the corresponding day name, okay, and print the day name, okay. So what you are going to do is, and let us assume that the first day number 1 of the week is, day 1 of the week is, let's say, Monday, and day 7 is Sunday. Okay, let's assume. Now, what is expected here is the user, while running the program or executing the program, will enter a value for day number, okay, a value for day number the user will give, okay, from outside, and then based on that value you are going to make decision whether the user entered. See, there are how many cases? You have to print 7 different outcomes, okay. If user enters day number 1, you will print Monday. If user enters day number 2, your output should be Tuesday, 3 Wednesday, 4 Thursday, like that. So how many different outcomes are possible here? You can tell me here how many different outcomes are possible in this program, because we don't know which day number will the user will give. So what do you think? Shweta says 7. Okay. Anyone else, or all of us agree with her? Okay, you can make attempts. Come on. It's a pretty straightforward question. I'll repeat it. If your user enters day number, you don't know which day number the user will enter, and you have to print the corresponding day, how many possible different outputs can be there on the screen depending on what day number the user has entered. One of your friends have mentioned 7, others are also saying 7. Okay, seems that all are agreeing with Shweta. Good. Okay, others is 8y. Okay, and yes, Shweta now has also edited her response 8. Shrestha, okay, fine. Some of you are also saying 8. Well, conceptually, if you see, yeah, correct. Conceptually, if you see, there should be 7 possible outcomes only. But it might happen that user may give some value which is neither which does not lie between 1 to 8, that 1 to 7, that is both 1 and 7 including. Okay, what if the user enters 10? So we have to handle that case also. Okay, so in such a situation we have to display an appropriate message. Okay, just one piece of advice: don't use the word default in case of switch case. You say for all other conditions. Okay, because when you use default, we will be seeing in the next topic, it is only used in the case of switch case. Okay, when you are solving the same problem using if else, you won't say default. Default is only used in terms of switch case. Okay, fine. So, but yes, your logic was correct nonetheless, that for all other cases the answer should be, let's say you will print, that's not a valid choice of the day number. You can write something like that. Okay, so here you will enter the day number and then you will check what is the day number. Is day number is equals to, you will write something like, is day number equal to 1? If so, print Monday. Okay, I'm just writing a rough program. Else, if day number is equals to 2, else is not if, else is day number is equals to 2. In that case, you will print Tuesday. Okay. Similarly, you will go on to next else and you will check condition. Okay, if that is also not the case, else is day number equal to 3, then you will go similarly printing one by one, and finally you will print for day number else is day number equals to 7, in which case you will print Sunday, and finally if it is neither of the above, see, like I said, keep all the cases of control structures follow what is known as waterfall model. I'll tell you what is waterfall, though this term is used in software engineering projects, but it will apply here also. For all other cases, your output should be invalid day number. Okay, so first of all, why we are using that structure of control statement, this version of control statement, if, elif, else if, like that, because we have more than 2 possible outcomes, and we saw that when you have more than 2 possible outcomes, we use the third one, that is this case, right? So remember, this follows what is known as waterfall approach. All the cases of control statements are this, rather all the cases of conditional statements, okay, all conditional statements follow waterfall approach. What is waterfall approach? Follow waterfall approach. That is, from top to down, you will see water from falls, waterfalls. If you see from a height, it will be falling down. Okay. So in the same way, this goes. It starts checking from top. The first case is checked. If that happens to be false, if this condition, the first condition happens to be false, then only it will come down and see the next case. If this is matching, if that happens to be false again, okay, then it will come down further. So one by one, just like from top to bottom, it will start flowing. The moment it finds a matching case, okay, it will execute its block. Its block will be executed, and then rest of the following cases will be ignored. Okay, so I'll repeat once again, all the 3 types of conditional statements, rather first one is handling only one case, so it is not proper to say the first one also. Even the second one is also handling 2 cases only. So but in the second one also, that is if else structure also, if the first one is the first condition is checked, if that is incorrect, then it goes into the else part. Similarly here also, it will start from checking from the first condition. If that is not correct, then only it will go to the next case. If that is also not correct, then only it will go to the next case and match the third condition. And if that happens to be true, then the statements or the contained within the braces or the within the block of the third statement will be executed, and then rest of the subsequent cases which lie below it won't be executed. If all the top cases you say they do not fulfill, conditions are not fulfilled or not met, then of course the last case will be automatically, the last will always be else, you remember. Okay, so last else, that means for all other cases, if all the cases before it have failed to execute, or if conditions before it have failed to match, then automatically the last one will be, which will be else, that block will be executed. Okay, so this idea that it starts checking conditions from top, if first one is for false, then it comes and check the second condition. If that is also false, it goes down like that. The moment it finds a matching case, it executes that block and then ignores, if any, ignores the cases which lie under it or below it, if any, if they are present below it. Okay, and finally one more case in which none of the above cases match. Then finally the last one, which is else only. Okay, that will automatically be matched. Is this concept clear to all? Of course, we are going to see the programming version of this. Okay, fine. So that it starts matching from the top, and finally if none of the cases match, then else is automatically matched. Okay, so if this much is clear, we'll see the program for day number and printing that particular day. Okay, fine. So this is a multi-line comment that I have given on the top. Okay, because we are accepting output, so we are using a scanner here and this line here, because day number we are asking from the user, and before asking we are leaving an appropriate message. Okay, so once the user gives a value, it goes into the variable named day number, okay, which is nothing but a memory location in the computer. Then you start checking one by one. Okay, so we check if day number is equals to 1. So we know that conditions are formed by what? Relational operators. So this will be evaluated, and based on the result of this condition test, it will be replaced by, the entire expression will be replaced by either true or false. So if user has entered 1, fine, it will be matched. It will go inside this, will execute the block of if, else, and rest of the cases under it will be ignored till else. If it is not matched, if this is false, then it will go and match this condition, else if. Okay, it will match this condition is day number 2 for the second possible outcome. If that is there, it will go and execute this. If that is also not matched, it will go and match the third condition for the third possible outcome. Okay, for each possible outcome it goes on matching one by one. Whichever matches, it executes that block, that particular statement. Okay, and then exits. Okay, however, if there are no matches from top, going from top to bottom, okay, then finally for all the possible, for all other cases, we do not write, in the last one we will write only the else without any condition. That means if none of the above cases matched, none of the above conditions matched, that is neither day 1, day 2, day number 2, day number 3, day number 4, day number 5, 6, 7. If none of these conditions, what you have written one by one, if none of them match, then automatically for all other cases you should print this. So this means else stands for all other cases. Okay, this does not, else does not mean the last case only. It is nothing like there is only one further outcome. Why? The user can enter any number, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that even -1, -2, -3, whatever, negative integers and positive integers other than 1, 1 to 7. So for all other cases, it is going to give you this else, whatever you have given in else. Okay, so we'll execute this program and we'll see the output. So that is program number 25. We'll compile it. Upon successful compilation, we'll go with the execution. It is asking me to enter the day number between 1 to 7, that is both inclusive. Okay, so I'll enter day number 5. The answer is it's Friday, right? Because you can see which condition matched. If day is 5, it is Friday. Let's see. Just hold on a bit. So in case if the day number, let's run again and let us try to give some day number which is a different one. Let's say I give 67. So it will give you a message that's not a valid day number. Okay. So is this simple program clear? What was the objective of this program? This is of the version if else that thing. Okay. So you can see here, because there are more than one possible outcome, so we went with what type? We went with this third type, right? Because first one is only for handling one case, one possible outcome out of many. Second one only handles two possible outcomes, and third one is for handling more than two possible outcomes. Okay, so because here there were around 8 possible outcomes, so we used, of course it is more than 2, so we use this structure if else statement by taking the example of this very simple program. Okay, where we checked one day number against multiple possible outcomes using different conditions for the day number, different values for the day number, and printing the corresponding day. And finally, for all other values, we will give invalid day number message. Is this simple program and the concept of if else, that is the third type of statement where in case there are more than two types of two possible outcomes. Okay, and how to use this type of structure. Is this concept clear? Then let me know. I'll proceed ahead. Okay, so yes, Aryan, Shrestha, Pranali, Hasmita, Ishan, Adya, excellent. See, like I've said time and again, do not hesitate to stop me. Okay, in case even one of you are there who's was not understood, you can just feel free to let me know. Okay, fine. Now we will see okay, so we have executed this. Now we will see some yes, we'll come to one another important type of operators. So now we'll start with one new topic, okay, and that is logical operators in Java before we can move any further. Okay, so what are logical operators? So logical operators are used to determine logic between variables or values. That means if I can explain you simply, okay, let's say okay, so what are logical operators? Okay, so it establishes logical, rather it establishes, if you can see, determine logic between variables and expressions. It is used to determine logic. And what is the logic? Just to determine logic between, I'll rather say, different conditions. For now you understand this. And what is a condition? We have seen already. What is this condition formed of? All the conditions that we have seen so far in control statements, they are formed of what? Operators and operands. And what types of operators? Can anyone just recall and tell me the conditions in if, else if, okay. These conditions are formed of operators and operands. And what are those types of operators? In the conditions that lie inside if, else if, what are those operators called? Okay, logical. No, not exactly. Relational. Yeah, Jayesh is correct. Logical, though we are seeing just right now. So relational, that is less than, greater than, not equal to, greater than equal to, less than equal to. Haven't we seen? Yes, we have. See, all these things you can see, double equal to, if I go further, greater than equal to, these are conditions with if, with else if. So we can see these conditions are formed of operators and operands. What is the operator here? Operator is double equal to. What are the operands? This number 2 and this identifier name pointing to a variable which is known as day number. Okay, which is named as day number. So this is also an operand, this is also an operand, and this is operator, and this operator is what is known as relational operator, and together they are forming one expression which is known as the condition, right? So that is what I was saying. That is what I am saying, is used to determine logic between different conditions. For example, if I need to say x is greater than 2 and x is less than 10. So what does this mean? This is condition 1. Condition 1. This is condition 2. Right? Because this is an expression formed using logical, what you say is this relational operator. This is relational operator, this is relational operator. So when there are two conditional operators, okay, that is, you have to establish relation between two conditions, not conditional operators. You have to establish relation between two conditions, that is condition 1 and condition 2. Or we have to check the logic between two conditions. Okay, then whatever this operator will be there, this operator will be a logical operator. Okay, so when you have to establish logic between two different conditions, and those conditions may be formed using relational operators and operands and other operands. Not other operands, normal operands. So when there are two or more conditions, it can be more conditions also. Okay, it can be like this also. Condition 1, logical op. Condition 2, okay, logical op again. Condition 3, and it may go on like this. Right? So this so whenever two conditions are there, and each condition, I'll write so that you can revise later, each condition is formed, just a minute, formed of relational operator and relational operator and operands. Okay, isn't it? Because you can see each condition is formed of relational operator and operands, relational operator and operands, right? So now there are, so this logic, is this logic clear, that it is used to determine the logic between different set of conditions, where each condition may be will be an expression formed by logical expressions, relational operators. Is this concept clear so far? What is that, further we will see in terms of program, but this condition that this concept that logical operators are used to determine logic between two conditions, two or more conditions, wherein each of the condition themselves is formed of relational operators and operands. Is this thing statement clear to all? Okay, Adya, Jayesh and others, fine. Okay, now we'll further build on this. Okay, see, now what are the different types of logical operators? The different types of logical operators that we have are, they are basically three types. This is double AND. This what is the sign, anyone? What is this sign called? I mean this sign. Just try it out. Let me see whether you know the name. AND. Okay, Aryan says AND. Anyone else? Or everyone is agreeing with him? Acha, Jayesh forgot. Good, honest reply. And okay, seems like most of you are going with AND only. Fine. See, like even I appreciate his answer, because if you don't know, you can tell me that key. Okay, fine, I don't know or I have forgotten. Okay, be participative. That is what I am expecting. See, I'll tell you the name. It's called, that is called this is known as ampersand. Ampersand. Okay, ampersand. I may be wrong in the spelling, but pronunciation is correct. I am 100% sure. Okay, so this, from this day onwards, we are not going to call this as AND. Again, just to recap, what is this symbol? This symbol is asterisk. So there are certain things that you are going to use in computer. This is known as ampersand. Okay, clear? So fine. This thing, three types of logical operators. First one is two ampersand back to back. Then you have, this is logical operators. Okay, even I forgot the name. I think this is bar. Yeah, bar. Two bars back to back. Okay, they are logical OR. Then you have exclamation mark. See, don't confuse it with exclamation mark equal to. That is different thing. Okay, that is what? That is relational not. This is one single not is not equals to. This is rather not equals to, relational not equals to. This is logical not. Okay, so I'll tell you what these things do. So we have seen that logical operators are used to determine the logic between two different conditions, and each of the condition itself is formed of operators and operands, where the operators are in general relational operators. And so what are the further, what are different types of logical operator? Logical operators are of three types. Okay, first one is two ampersand back to back, two bars, which is known as logical OR. This is logical and then you have logical NOT, exclamation mark. So this checks for condition. See, just like relational operators, logical operators logical operators also give result as true or false only. Okay. Fine. So, like I said, it also gives values as true or false only. So, what is the logic? See, here I'll give you certain rules. This one will result in true if all conditions individually is true. It's true. Else it will give false. Okay. This one will return true if any one of the condition is true. This one reverses the result of the condition. That is, if condition is true, it will give false. And vice versa. Vice versa means the other way also. That means if the condition with which it is applied is false, it will give true. If the condition with which it is applied is true, it will give false. It reverses the outcome of the condition. Okay. Now let us check. What do we mean by that? Let us say we have 2 is greater than 3 and 7 is not equal to 9 and 5 is less than 28 and that is ampersand. This is logical. This symbol is known as ampersand and this operator is known as logical AND. So 2 ampersand together form logical AND in Java. Okay. So this logical AND, then we have another condition. Let's say 7 is greater than 45. Now can you tell me, we have seen using this logic that okay, first let me mark. This is condition 1, this is condition 2, this is condition 3, this is condition 4. Okay, so we have seen true if all the conditions present in that expression where this is used is individually true. All the conditions should be true, then only this ampersand wherever it is used, that is logical AND, will give you the true output. So here, what are the different conditions? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Are all the conditions true individually based on relational operators?
No.
No. Jayesh, no, it's not true. That is, all the conditions are not true. See, if you see, 2 is not greater than 3. So if you apply individually using the concept of, because each of the condition is made up of what? you can see this relational operators, right? So this relational operator is 2 greater than 3. No, answer is no. So output will come as false. Okay, this is true. If you individually figure out the answer of this condition, this will be true again, and this is what you say is false again. So even one of the condition resulting in false is sufficient to make the entire thing, entire outcome false. Okay, using this logic. Similarly here, if you replace this with this one, let's say 7 is less than 29, or minus 5 is greater than 20, or 15 is greater than, or you can say 15 is less than equal to 15, or 100 is equal to 5. Now you can tell me the answer of this. See this condition, true if any one of the condition is true. What will be the output?
True.
True. Why? Here we require only one output, at least one. Okay, we require at least one output to be true. But here we can see this is false, this is false, no, this is true, this is false, this is true. Okay, so at least one is required for the at least one condition should be true in order for the entire thing to be true. So this we can see here, this will result in true. Even one, had this been also false, let's say if I remove this, okay, then this will become false. Even then it will be true, because any one should be true in order for the entire thing. At least one of them should be, at least one. It can be all also. All can be true also. But until and unless you have all false, the result won't be false. Okay. Finally, the third type, that is not. Let's say you have this. Okay. Now, what does this say? Reverses the result of the condition. What is the result of the condition? Let's say this is the condition. What is the result of this condition when solved alone? This is a relational operator. If you write this alone, what will be the output in print? Yes. If you write that condition alone in print, what will be the result? 10 is less than equals to 29. Yeah, it's pretty simple one. Come on. Nobody would like to try. That's very simple. 10 is less than 29. What do you think will be the output?
29 is greater than 10.
No. This is a relational operator. So this will always result, this condition will always result in either true or false.
Okay, false maybe.
Why false? 29 is, see, this is this, if I tell you, is this correct? 10 is less than equals to 29. Is this correct or incorrect? What if we just saw, right? So let's say if I give num1 as 10, 29, what will be the answer for this case? That is 10 is less than equals to 29.
True.
True, right? So I'll show, that is program number 21. You can see the last one is true. Okay,
Yeah.
individually if you solve it. So here also, this individually if you solve this expression, individually if you solve this condition, this is condition, this will result in true because 10 is actually less than equals to 29. Fine. So what does not do this logical not symbol? It reverses the output. So output is true. So this entire thing will give you as false. It reverses the output. So individually the condition was true. So it reversed it and made it false. Just have a look for all the three types. Okay, for another, let's say 25 seconds, whether the condition, this concept of and using when it will be giving true, when it will be giving false, and what is the use of not, using this logic, you just figure out in mentally once and let me know if there is a doubt. I'll go through it again. Take 25 seconds.
Clear, sir.
Clear? Okay, let others also go through it. Okay, now let me know here. Okay, fine. Okay, I hope there is no doubt here. I think you were saying something false. Adya and Shweta. Okay, you were saying the final result of not. Okay, maybe. Then that is, of course, correct. Fine, so all of you are saying. Okay, fine. All of you seem to be comfortable with this thing. Okay, what I'll do is, I think I have gone too much into the operators. I'll give you, let's say, 3-4 minutes break. I'll also have some water. You can just go around and have some water, take some fresh air, come back. Okay, because we'll be, let's say, continuing for another 20 minutes maybe when we resume. Okay, so just take a break of 3-4 minutes and then we'll meet back again. Be connected to the meeting. I'm just pausing it. Okay, now see why we learned this topic separately. I hope we are good to start, right? Just let me know so that I think all of you are here, then we can start.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Others also, they can tell me if they are here and so that I can move ahead. Or have they not come back? Okay, in any case, I'll start. If they are missing, they can just go through it in the recordings. Fine. Okay, fine. Inosh, good. Jesh, Inosh, Anas. Okay, let us see why we studied this topic separately. Okay, so what is the use of this? Now, see, when you use now this relational operators along with a relational operator for forming conditions, and then you further make it a bit more complex condition using it with logical operators, this becomes a very powerful tool for handling very complex type of conditions in if else cases. Okay, we will see how we will use this logical operators to handle not that complex but relatively good type of problem. Let's say I'll give you one programming example here. That will be question 25. Okay, 26, yeah. So we'll see this once again. Okay, you can tell me the output first of this logical operators, then we will see those programs. Okay, whether those what will be the output of these programs? You can tell me. I'll write here. What do you think will be the output of this thing? You can type first one. I'll just open it side by side. Okay, you can tell me the output of this one, line number 7.
False.
Line number 7. Line number 7. What will be the output?
Oh, 7.
Output Ishan says true. Why? Because there are two conditions here, and we know and always results in true if all the conditions involved in this in that expression having logical and is true. So Ishan, do you still think, or will you like to change your answer?
It's false because
False. Yes, because
because 5 is not smaller than 5. It
Correct.
should be equal to 5.
5, it's less than equal to or equal to. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Good. So this condition is false. So as per the law, along with logical and, if one of them even happens to be false, the entire result will become false. So first one we have concluded, or we have come to that it should be false. Okay. What about the second one?
True.
True. Why? Rule says one of them, if even one of them is true of the number of conditions that you have. So here we have two conditions. One is this and another is this. So even if one is true, the entire result will be true. Okay. No. Are you sure?
It's false. It's false.
False. Why? Because both are false here.
5 is not less.
5 is
4.
not less than 5, and neither 5 is less than 4. Yes, Ishan, good. It's false. What about the last one here? What does not do? What does is, first inner condition will be evaluated and it will reverse the result. So is 2 greater than 6? So inner condition, this one will whatever will be the result of it, it will simply reverse it. So 2 is greater than 6. So inner condition is false. So overall it will reverse the result. So it will result in true. Good. What about this one? This inner thing will become what? Is x less than 5? This is false. So because and is there, logical and, the entire thing will become false. Why? Condition 1 is here and condition 2 is here. All the conditions should be true in order for this entire thing to become true, right? So however, one condition is false, so at least one will even make it, even one condition false will make it the entire thing false. So this thing is entirely false. So it will result, this result will be reverted by exclamation mark, that is not, logical not, and this condition overall will become true. Isn't it? Is there a doubt in the last one? Let me know. Shreya, I'm not sure whether you meant the inner one to be false or the entire statement to be false. Okay, so if you have doubt, you can paste it here. I'll explain again. Okay, anyways, I'll repeat, because just forget about and for now. First, let us solve the inner expression. Okay, yes, I'm doing that. What I'm saying is, whatever is the result of the expression before which not is put, it will reverse that result. So what is the expression that is enclosed within not? This entire thing. If you solve this entire thing separately, if you print this entire thing separately as a single condition, you will see that this is double ampersand, logical and. So logical AND means even if one of the conditions, here two conditions are there, this is condition 1 and condition 2. So if both of them are true, then only this entire thing will become true. Even if one goes false, the result of this logical AND becomes false. So we can see that x, which is 5, is not less than 5. So what this condition is false and this condition is true. But in order to for this entire condition to become true with this, both should have been true, right? But because one of them is false, this will become false. Now if you write false with not, what will happen? What does not do? Not, if it whatever result it gets, it simply reverses it. So won't it make this to true? Okay, so we have done this in one single step. What we have done is we have put this entire thing, okay, here, enclosed within bracket. So that bracket means grouping. Grouping is done first. Grouping part is solved first. Okay. So this will be solved first, but because the result of this will be false, so it will be replaced here after solving internally, and then this false along with not will give you true. Okay. So yes, like you said, you have understood. Okay. Good. I'll just remove this part. And I'll minimize it. Fine. So that was about the output of this. You can I'll send you these programs in that classroom only. You can just verify and check. It is very simple. The results will be same only. Now let us move to some very interesting part. Now because we have learned both relational and logical operators, and logical operators when used in case of if conditions, make them very powerful. At one single line you can check many conditions. Okay, let us see the example. Let's say we have one problem. We have to find the greatest among the three numbers. Let's say user enters three numbers. You ask three numbers from the user and you print which one was the greatest. Okay, is the question clear? That means if user enters 10, 20, let's say if user enters okay, if user enters greatest or biggest, whatever you say, among three numbers entered by user. Okay. So let's say user enters three number, num1 is equals to 10, num2 is equals to 5, and num3 is equals to 27. So this program will consider all these three numbers and will print which one is biggest. So what should be the output? Output should be 27. Out of the three numbers, the biggest number that user entered was 27. If user enters num1 as let's say 29, num2 as 100, and num3 as 77, then this program will enter the print the biggest number, that is 100. Okay, so we are going to write a very simple program for this using. So now let's say which type of model should we use of conditional statement. How many possibilities are there? Either num1 will be biggest, or num2 will be biggest, or num3 will be biggest. So there are three different possibilities. Okay, so should we use if, or if else, or if else if if else if else, which model, this one, or this and this one? There are three possible outcomes. Either num1 will be biggest, or num2 will be biggest, or num3 will be biggest, depending on the condition. So you let me know, what do you think? If else if else. Okay, good. Yes, because more than two conditions or outcomes are possible. Excellent. Now we will see what we are going to do. Yes, Ishan, you're right. Okay, so let us see. So what we did was, we accepted three values from the user, enter the first number, then we accepted the first number and we put it in the first variable identified by num1. Then we asked for the second number, user entered the second number and we put it in the second variable identified by num2. Similarly, we did for the third value and put it inside the third variable identified by num3. Once we have got all the values, see how we are forming a complex condition. Okay, relatively complex, not that complex. So when will be the first one biggest? If num1 is greater than num2 and num2 is greater than num3. We remember that this thing only results in true, this ampersand, that is logical and, results only in true when both the conditions on the side of it, along with it, or all the conditions present with it is true. So if I tell you कि whatever the number has entered in variable num1 is greater than num2 and it is also greater than num3, that means both the conditions along with it are this, that is num1 is also greater than num2 and num1 is also greater than num3, and there are only three numbers, then is it not obvious that num1 is the greatest? Let me know, is this concept clear? That means because this gives you output as true only if all the conditions present with it is true. So supposing num1 is greater than num2 and num1 is also greater than num3, can't we say num1 is the biggest number or the greatest number? Is this logic clear? Okay, let's see, look at it for, let's say, another 10 seconds. What I am saying is, if num1 happens to be greater than num2, only three numbers are there. I tell you that first number is greater than the second number and first number is also greater than the third number. Then is it not clear that the first number only will be the greatest? Okay, so what do you think? Okay, fine. So now most of you I think must have got it. Okay, I'll just go back to the program now. So how we took advantage? Because this thing, because if true sees in front of it, if sees in front of it true value, that means if the result of this outcome is true, then whatever is there within the true block, within the if block, will be executed. So if this condition is true, then that means if block will be executed, then is it not logical to print that num1 is biggest? Okay, so why we are using this double AND? So that we are certain that both the condition hold true together. So if and only if both the condition are true together at the same time, okay, then only with certainty we can say num1 is biggest. If this is not the case, if this becomes false, if this is true, then if will go inside its block, it will execute it and then it will move ahead. It will print this. If it is not true, it will go and look for the, like waterfall model. It first is not correct, it will go to the below one and it will check this condition. So if num1, now if we check here again like that, so if num2 is greater than num1 and num2 is greater than num3, that means second number is greater than first number and second number is also greater than third number, and both the conditions hold true at the same time together. Okay, then is it not natural that num2 is the greatest number or the biggest number? Okay, see, it will only come here if this becomes false, and if this becomes true, then we do, of course, we have found the biggest number. If we have not found the biggest number, we'll go and check for other numbers. And if we see that neither the first one nor the second one is true, that means here we were checking whether num1 is the biggest, here we were checking whether num2 is the biggest. If neither the num1 nor the num2 was biggest, is it not obvious that num3 will be the biggest? Okay, so what logic? I'll repeat it again. Here in this condition, using what you say is logical operator, here we are checking, is num1 not great, is num1 the greatest? If this is the case, yes, we'll print num1 is the biggest. If this is false, we'll go to and we'll the below else if we'll check, is num2 biggest then? If num1 is not the biggest. Okay, if this is true, it will print num2 is biggest. If it reaches here in else part, that means neither this one nor this one was true. Then only following the waterfall concept going from top to bottom, it has come here. So then it is it not obvious then this num3 will only be the biggest option, biggest number. So it will print num3 in that case. Just take 25 seconds, analyze it, and let me know if it is clear to all. Okay. Okay. So, Adya, Shreya, Ishan, others also may let me know. If I need to repeat again, I'll repeat again. No problem.
Clear, sir.
Clear. Good. Okay. Fine. So I hope. Okay, Shweta has also got it. Okay, fine. Then I'll assume that it's clear to most of you, rather all of you. Now, I'll execute this program and will show you. That was code 27. Oh. First number, let's say I give -4. Second number I give as 456. Third number I give as 45. You will see biggest is 456. Okay, fine. If this program is clear, we'll enhance it in a bit better way. So I'll just take 2-3 more minutes and then we'll wrap up. Okay, so a better version of the same program. What we are doing is, now tell me one thing. Here, we are checking after seeing whether num1 was biggest or not. Okay, let me increase the font size. Yeah. If this condition became false, that is, if num1 was not greater than num2 and at the same time num1 was not greater than num3, therefore it came here. Let's say if num1 is not the biggest, then if it reaches here, your program for checking this condition, that means obviously num1 is not the biggest. So do we really need to check this? If we have reached here, that is for certain num1 was not biggest, therefore we reached here. So why do we need to check this part then? Then the only possibility is either num2 will be biggest or num3 will be biggest. Why? Why we excluded num1? Had num1 been the biggest number, this condition would have resulted true and it would have printed here itself. It would not have reached here. But it has reached here. If the program reaches here, then that means num1 was definitely not the biggest. So there is no need to check num2 with num1. The only possible thing is either the num2 or the num3 will be biggest. So we will only make this comparison. We'll exclude this. And that is what we did in the next program. See, we removed this part because that was not necessary. Why it was not necessary? Because we don't need to check num1. Why? Because num1, if the program reached here, num1 for sure was not the biggest. Had it been the biggest, it would have resulted true in this line only, and it would have printed here, ignoring all the subsequent conditions. Okay. Therefore, we removed that unnecessary part. If num1 is not the biggest one, then of course either the num2 or the num3 is the biggest. So therefore we are only checking them. So if num2 is greater than num3, then that means num2 is biggest. If the cursor reaches here, that means neither the num1 nor the num2 was biggest, then it is obvious num3 will be biggest. Analyze till here this program and let me know, is this concept clear, that this condition is not necessary to mention, though if you mention it is not wrong, but it is not necessary to mention because it is obvious num3 is not biggest by that if it reaches here, because had it been the biggest it would have become true here only and it would have printed and it would have never come on this condition. So it is obvious num1 is not the biggest, either the num2 or the num3 is biggest, so we only need to compare them. That is what we did here, and the rest of the program remains the same. Okay, so if it reaches here, that means neither the num1 nor the num2 was biggest, so it is obvious num3 is biggest. Have a look for 20 seconds. Let me know if it is clear. Then we are almost done for the day.
Clear, sir.
Okay, good. Others also may let me know. Okay. Ishan, okay. Adya, Jayesh, Pradipta. Okay, fine. Good. Okay. So, okay, fine, no worries. Another version of this program is there, but that will take 1 minute. So we'll see that tomorrow. So I hope all the variations of this a conditional statement, that is, we are done with the 3 variations of the conditional statements. Okay, and we have also seen, in addition to these 3 variations and with the sample programs of these, we have also seen, sir, okay, just a minute. For the conditional statement, is it necessary to write it within the brackets? Yes. If you have to write it within the brackets, make it a practice. Okay. See, if you do not write, you will be confused where to write and where not to write within brackets. If you make it a habit to write everywhere in the bracket, that is never going to give you the wrong answer. Okay, so make it a practice to write with if the condition should be in the brackets. If else if the condition, you always write the condition within brackets. Okay, so what I am saying is, today what we learned, we further explored into if else statement part. We, along with that, we also covered what are known as logical operators. Okay, along with its examples, we covered logical operators along with the explanation and what different rules are followed for returning true and false in case of logical operators. This condition and logical and condition. Okay, what are the different types, what rules they employ for arriving at the answer. Okay, and then we saw few examples to employ if else and make it more powerful using logical statements operators inside it. Okay, and like she said, it is a good practice. Yes, you always should include all the conditions with if else within brackets. Okay, so if this much is clear, we can stop for the day. Let me know if it is fine. We can close it off. Okay.
Fine, sir.
Okay, good. Fine then, and I'll stop the recordings and